Welcome everyone to the first edition of the Reimagine You Lab podcast. I am MG, and we have Dr. Joyce Moore that comes on the third Friday of every month with your nutrition and wellness feature that we do. And so, welcome, Dr. Moore. How are you today?
Thank you so very much, Ms. Michelle. I am blessed and highly favored.
Well, I am excited to kick off this year because this year we are making healthy happen in 2025 and always.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about that. And we had a question that had came through on last year where our caller or our guest has said, hey, what are some things that I need to be looking out for? And Dr. Joyce said, Michelle, I want to make sure that we don't just look at it from one perspective or one thing, but we want to make sure that we answer the question well. So Dr. Joyce, you went in and said, hey, I'm going to make sure that I deep dive in here and make sure that I answer well. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And for this particular program, if the viewers can get a food container or packages, we're going to be looking at nutrition facts and how to read nutrition facts and the ingredients list that's on all containers and packages. So if they can grab a food container or package, that would be wonderful.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so we got it. This is going to be interactive, you guys. So definitely, while we are, as a matter of fact, I am going to bring up Dr. Joyce's slides because she's got some materials that we're going to be sharing with you today. So while I do that, go to the kitchen, grab a container, any type of canned goods, something out of the pantry closet, so that you can see a package while we are doing that. And so I am going to bring up the slides now, so that we can have it, and we are going to jump in. So, yes. Dr. Joyce, I always love these episodes because they're so good and they're so beneficial to people. And I really love the way that you share information because it really kind of gives us a really good lens. And we want to make sure that people do have the things that they need to really be able to introspectively look at, what impact can I make on my health for the better. So I'm glad that we've been able to tag team and share this platform and be able to really position ourselves and to position others for really the things that they can do to make their health, to really have an impact on their health. So thank you for partnering with us and us being able to do this together.
Well, thank you as well.
All right. So you guys, this is Reimagine You's feature segment that we do, nutrition and wellness with Dr. Joyce Moore. And we've got a bit of a disclaimer here that this information is for educational and informational purposes only. And it's not to be a diagnosis or to treat, but we want to make sure that you've got the information. And then Dr. Joyce, you want to give them a little details on your book?
Absolutely. The information that I will be providing, most of this information is in the Purple Mind Nutrition and Wellness book. Not all of the information, but most of the information. So if you purchase this book, and of course we only have a limited time, you will be able to read for yourself the information. It's from A to Z on nutrition and wellness, what to look out for when you're purchasing food to keep your body healthy and to make healthy happen in 2025 and always.
Amen. All right. So let's get started.
So the three biggest things to pay attention to are the kinds and the amount of fat, sodium or salt, and sugar that you are placing into your body. Now, these are not the only causes of disease, disabilities, and death, but these are the biggest. These are the major causes. So before you place your food product into your container, you want to make sure that you are looking at the nutrition facts that's on every container. and the ingredients that are listed in these foods. The Federal Drug Administration, FDA, requires all food manufacturers to label the fat, salts, and sugars that they are placing in the foods.
Ah, that's a big one. Fat, salt, and sugar. Okay. Those are the big three.
Yes. So when we look at fats, and I'm going to break this fats down, and we're going to start out with wisdom words. Now, if you look in Leviticus 3:17, and this is the Christian Standard Bible, this is where our creator, our provider, our sustainer, and our healer, God, has said, this is what we should be placing into our bodies. And it's in the Bible, it's scripture. So I'm just the messenger. So according to Leviticus 3:17, it says, this is a permanent statute throughout your generation. Wherever you live, you must not eat any animal fat and or blood. Now it just says fat, but they're talking about animal fat.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when you look at your nutrition facts label on your food container or package, you will see total fat. Now I'm going to break down the total fat. They place this first because this, of course, is the most important, biggest cause of disease, diabetes, and death.
Mm-hmm.
So you are to take no, you are not to eat, we're not supposed to eat any saturated fat. Now the saturated fat links with Leviticus 3:17, where it's talking about animal fat or animal byproducts. And then you should have a moderate intake of unsaturated fats. Now we have two unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats are the fats that are found in plant-based foods. And when we talk about unsaturated fat, it is different from the animal fat, the saturated fat, and there are two kinds of unsaturated fat: mono-unsaturated and poly-unsaturated fats. So we can have a moderate intake of plant-based fats. There should be no intake of trans fat. And this is hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated fat. And we're going to talk a little bit about this later. A sparingly intake of plant-based saturated fat. So now we see we do have saturated fat in plants as well as saturated fat in the animals. Saturated fat in animals is not healthy. So we should not be eating saturated fat from the animal or the byproduct of the animal, but we can have a moderate or sparingly amount of plant-based saturated fat.
Yeah, Dr. Joyce, we're gonna have. I'm interested now in, because a lot of times we don't know the differences between saturated, unsaturated, and animal fats and plant-based. So I'm really excited about learning a little bit more about each of these different kinds of fats. So this is good. This is good.
Okay, so with total fat, we know that we need a little fat in the body, but not animal fat, to provide energy for the body. Mm-hmm. So again, we want to stay away from animal fat, which is the saturated fat, which is actually cholesterol. Animal fat byproducts, which includes, of course, the milk and ice cream, yogurt, butter, cheese, and fatty meat. This is all saturated fat. And when I talk about the byproducts, the milk, ice cream, yogurt, butter, and cheese, we're also talking about not only milk from cows or dairy milk, we're also talking about goat milk and maybe butter and cheese and the other products that are made from the goats. So we learned that these byproducts of animal fat according to scientific history, according to scientific information, many melanated, pigmented people, African Americans, also referred to as Negroes, Black Africans, Hispanics, and Asians, are lactose intolerant to dairy products. And this includes not only cows, but goats.
Okay.
And so people with lactose intolerance, they cannot digest the lactose. Now, lactose is a milk sugar. Just like we have plant sugars, we also have simple sugar in milk, and it's called lactose. And people who are lactose intolerant, they have a deficiency, inherited deficiency in the lactase enzyme. So what happens is when they eat any milk products, any animal byproducts that contains milk, like the cheese, the ice cream, yogurt, that will just float around in their stomach. And what it causes is indigestion, abdominal cramps, bloating, and diarrhea, because they do not have that lactase enzyme to break that simple sugar down so it can be digested by the body.
Really? And that's associated, and they found that science research has identified that melanin pigmented people have a tendency to have that type of a deficiency. So I didn't realize that. That's something that's new information.
And it's very, very good to know, because as we go along, we'll see there are other diseases associated with this.
Okay, no, this is good.
Lactose intolerance, and most people, melanated people, do not have that enzyme lactase to break down that milk sugar, which is called lactose.
Wow. Okay, good information, Dr. Joyce.
Okay, so as we look at the milk products from animals, and again, that is a bad fat. The saturated fat from animals is considered unhealthy fat. And we find that the people with lactose intolerance, like I mentioned prior, is because they have a genetic trait defect. They cannot make that lactase enzyme to break down that simple sugar that's in milk called lactose. And also, according to the scientific research, people of African, Asian, and South American descent can experience milk allergies. And now these symptoms usually include, they can have hives, they can have swelling of their mouth and swelling of their tongue, itching, vomiting, rash. And this is different from milk intolerance in that this is an inflammatory immune reaction to a protein that's found in the animal milk byproducts. And the protein is called casein. And I want you to remember casein, because this is related to another disease. And we can go to the next slide. And this is related to uterine fibroids. And 30% of African American or Negro women, they have 3 times more incidence of fibroids in their uterus, breast fibroids, than white European women. And this is scientifically linked to that milk protein casein. And as you see the way this word is spelled, casein, as you look on your nutrition facts label, after you read through your nutrition facts label, look at the ingredients listed. And then if this food product has casein, you will see casein. And then you should stay away from this, especially if you're prone, or you have been told that you have fibroids in your uterus, or you have breast cystic disease. Stay away from casein. That's a milk protein. And also there's another milk protein called whey, WHEY. And usually the similarly cases with patients or people with fibroids of the uterus, they are allergic also to that protein whey that's in goats as well as cows. And I've even heard of people from different parts of the country saying that they drink camel's milk.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to mention to you that the Bible also has a list of permitted and forbidden foods in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. And that camel is one of the forbidden foods that you should really consider. Not me. I'm just a messenger. I'm just repeating what the Creator is telling us, what we are permitted to eat and forbidden to eat. And so casein and whey, which are milk proteins, are also associated, like I said, with breast disease, cystic fibroids, heart, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes. If you have an allergy, if you have a milk allergy, which is slightly different from milk intolerance, you want to avoid consuming casein by reading the ingredients list on food containers and packages.
No, that's good information, Dr. Joyce. I hadn't even heard about casein, but I would see like the whey proteins, in a lot of the protein powders and things like that, that sometimes people may use for meal replacement, or even people who I see a whey protein being used a lot with athletes.
Yes.
I had a daughter who and a son who was in athletics, and sometimes they would use different type of protein powders and stuff in their meal replacements as supplements, for as they were doing some of their training. And whey protein was one that was really very popular. And so this is good to know, but never knew about some of that. So this is good information.
Okay, so now we are going to look at mono-unsaturated fats. And these are the fats that are considered healthy fats. These are plant-based fats. These are fats do not contain cholesterol. And so as we look at the words of wisdom words, if we look at Genesis, the first chapter, 29, and this is like our golden standard for foods. And this is the New King James Version. God said, "See, I have given you every herb, vegetable that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food." And so here we are saying, here we are getting wisdom words from our Creator telling us what we should eat. And these are plants that are bearing seeds, and they are grown on the face of the earth. So they're coming from the very land, the soil of the earth. And as we continue to look at total fats, we are now looking at plant-based. So we're going from the animal fat to plant-based fats. And in plant-based fats, you're going to have unsaturated fat. And we have mono-unsaturated fat, which is also referred to as MUFA. So if you say MUFA, this is the same as plant-based mono-unsaturated fat. And it's from seeded herbs, vegetables, and fruit, plant-based rich diets. And again, these are non-GMO. They're organic, non-GMO, not genetically modified or engineered. They still have their seeds. And if you are eating like an avocado, the plants may have been genetically engineered or modified, whereas you will have the seed in the fruit, in the avocado, but the seed does not yield a plant because it has been genetically modified. So now we're going to be looking at plants that are organic and non-GMO plants. And these are going to be your olives, olive oils, nuts, avocados, avocado oil. These are your healthy fats, and they're the fats that are found in these foods are called mono-unsaturated, unsaturated fats.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I want to mention about olive oil is that olive oil cannot tolerate high temperature. So if you're using olive oil, use it for sauteing, use it for sauces, or use it as a finishing dressing. And I do that a lot. I'll put a little olive oil after I prepared my meals, and I'll just drizzle a little olive oil or avocado oil on top of the dish. Avocado oil, however, can tolerate high temperatures, so you can fry and boil with the avocado oil. These are healthy oils. These, to me, are God's gifts to us for good health.
Yeah.
So the reason why the mono-unsaturated fat, the MUFU, which is also considered a low-fat diet food, it can induce significant loss of body weight. These foods, olives and avocados and the nuts, what they do is they enhance your fat burner. So it increases your metabolism so that, okay, now you're losing weight. It reduces the body fat around the abdominal area and transports that fat into your muscles to help your muscles to develop, to get strong and larger muscles. And it even makes you feel physically more energetic than the saturated animal fat diet.
That's good. That's good. That's really good.
So as you're looking on your nutrition facts label and you see total fats, if you see mono unsaturated fat, then that's your good fat. This is your healthy fat. This is what you want to be eating because it does not contain cholesterol. These mono unsaturated plant-based fats do not contain cholesterol. So it's going to help decrease your bad cholesterol. And if there's any bad cholesterol in the liver, it will help to transport like that low density lipoprotein. That's a bad fat. It will help to transport that to the liver so the liver can flush it out of your body. And also the unsaturated fats, what they do is they prevent inflammation and they improve your blood glucose. So you have a more stabilized blood glucose. And that's very important when we are trying to prevent diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, as well as heart attack and cancer and stroke. And we have mentioned adult onset type 2 diabetes mellitus. You get all of these benefits from eating unsaturated fat, whether it's mono-unsaturated fat or poly-unsaturated fat, which are all plant-based fats, which do not contain cholesterol.
Yeah. Now, this is really good, Dr. Joyce. When you're thinking about, a lot of things they'll tell us not to eat, but it's good to know of things that to eat, some more olives and olive oil, nuts, avocados, and the things that is helping the body to do, decreasing the cholesterol and reducing inflammation and improving, that insulin sensitivity, so it can reduce the chances of heart attack and cancer and stroke and those types of things. That's good. That's good information.
As really now, a lot of people are just taking a teaspoon of the olive oil. They're just taking a teaspoon of olive oil as well as maybe a teaspoon of avocado oil, but if you drizzle it on your salads, even on your pasta, you're still getting the benefits, all of the benefits, because these are good, healthy, God plant-based given fats.
Yeah. No, that's good info. So good.
Okay, so now trans fat. Now, if you look at your nutrition facts label, you're going to see something that says trans fat, and that should always be 0. You should never be consuming trans fat. And the reason why is trans fat is a lab-made fat. And what they use is genetically modified vegetable oil, whether it's canola oil or vegetable oil or cottonseed oil. They're using GMO vegetable oil. They boil it at an extremely high temperature, then they place in hydrogen. That's why it's also referred to as hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated trans fat. You should never purchase anything that has trans fat in it, and usually it's going to say 0 trans fat. The reason why they start making trans fat is because they say, oh, this is less expensive than the animal fat, even though it's bad fat, and it's way less expensive than the good unsaturated plant-based fats.
Yeah.
So they start using this because it's fluffy. It's like let's say lard, Crisco. So it was great for manufacturers to use in breads and cakes and pie crusts and cookies. But instead of using the trans fat, instead of using what seemed to be like plaster to the body, and the body just said, we don't know what to do with this. And so it just would lay along the walls of the arteries and clog the arteries. So instead of using that for bacon, you can use coconut oil or palm oil. And again, that trans fat hardens, narrows, and blocks the arteries. And so it is a significant link to causing heart disease, stroke, dementia, Alzheimer's disease. And it was banned from being placed in foods in Denmark in 2003 because there were so many incidents of people having heart attacks. And then New York banned trans fat in 2006. And they noticed 10 years later, after they banned the trans fat, then the incidence of mortalities from heart disease lowered tremendously in these states. So then they end up, the FDA said, we will ban trans fat in all food. So you should see 0 trans fat. Now, the little nuance to this is, if you read, and it's so important not just to stop reading at your nutrition facts, but look through your ingredients, because some companies will have hydrogenated, or partially hydrogenated fat. Or they may say partially hydrogenated coconut oil or partially hydrated canola oil. Don't put that in your chart, in your cart. Don't consume that, because again, that's trans fat. They've just used another scientific name to throw you off.
Okay. So even though it's not inside of your nutrition facts, it could still be in there if it's in your ingredients list.
They should list it in the ingredients. It may say trans fat 0, which it should be on every food container. Every food package, every food container. But again, read through the ingredients and you may see hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated, and they will name the whatever it is. If they partially hydrogenated canola oil or vegetable oil, then you know that's trans fat. Stay away from it because it is detrimental. It just clogs, narrows, hardens, and clogs your arteries. So oxygenated blood cannot get to your brain. You have a stroke, to your heart, you have a heart attack, and to your cells. And that ends up with cancer. When you're not getting oxygenated blood to your cells, cancer. And so Alzheimer's and all those other diseases is a result of this trans fat, which is no It's a no-no.
Yeah, no, this is good. Very good, Dr. Joyce.
Okay, so now we're looking at some plant-based fats that do contain saturated fats. So we have to eat them sparingly. We have to watch how much of this food that we're eating. It's not cholesterol, but it is a saturated fat. And so coconut oil, palm, and palm kernel oils, these are fruit oils, but they are high in saturated fat. Now, it's a difference from the animal saturated fat and the plant-based saturated fat, in that the plant-based saturated fat does not contain cholesterol. So you don't have to worry about clogging your arteries, hardening your arteries, and causing all of those detrimental effects. But you want to watch how much you eat. You want to eat these fats sparingly. Again, coconut oil is 100% fat, 80 and 90% of which is saturated fat. Whereas the olive oil and the avocado oil, they have the majority of unsaturated, mono-unsaturated, and poly-unsaturated fats versus saturated fat. They have a very small percentage of saturated fat in them. And coconut oil gives that firm texture at a cool or room temperature, so it's great for baking. And again, we're going to be looking for non-GMO, unrefined coconut oil. It's an antioxidant. It's high in selenium and copper. Now, we know, or we have learned, that selenium and copper, they are antioxidants. So they actually protect your cell. They're protecting your body at a cellular level. It protects your DNA, your genetic material. And most people say, okay, we don't know what foods contain copper. Well, coconut, whether it's coconut milk or coconut water or coconut oil, those two antioxidants, selenium and copper, are found in coconut. So coconut, it's very high in magnesium and phosphorus and potassium, iron, and fiber. And we know that fiber is great for the gut. We have 37.2 cells containing genetic material, but we also have 39 trillion. We have 37.2 trillion cells containing DNA, but we have 39 trillion bacteria. And what fiber does is good health for your bacteria, for your gut bacteria. So coconut is a very powerful antioxidant. It helps to prevent urinary tract infections and kidney infections, which can lead to kidney stones. And it's also like a great body oil for dry skin and deep conditioner for hair. So coconut has a lot of benefits, but again, we must eat it in moderation and sparingly and watch it because of the fat content in it.
No, that's good.
Okay, so now we're going to go to sodium. Sodium is the same as salt. And so we want to avoid eating bleached or refined salt, especially that refined salt that has in the ingredients an anti-caking agent. Stay away from that. And
what is that, Dr. Joyce, a caking agent?
Okay, so when you are actually pouring the salt out of the container, instead of the salt coming out in clumps, the anti-caking agent will allow you to sprinkle it more evenly.
Okay.
But the anti-caking agent could be from a nanoparticle technology like silicone dioxide, or it could be a more even toxic agent that they are using as anti-caking. So when you get salt, if you get and I use the bleached refined salt to soak my greens in. And to place over my meats, like if I'm going to eat fish, because it kills the bacteria. But I don't use it to cook with. But again,
Okay.
you don't want to buy that salt with anti-caking agent because that could be a toxic substance.
Got you. Okay.
And
Okay.
so what we want to eat, instead of eating the bleach refined salt, which is considered a free radical, which is
Mm-hmm.
considered, to do damage to your cells, you
Mm-hmm.
want to eat sparingly unbleached, unrefined, ancient sea salt.
Okay. Oh, that's so good to know. So good to know.
Okay, so now we're going to continue with sodium, which is the same as your salt intake,
Mm-hmm.
sparingly. If you have high blood pressure, you definitely, and I know you're reading how much salt and watching, if you can get zero salt and stuff, that's perfect. So avoid eating preservatives. Now, these two preservatives, sodium nitrate and nitrate, nitrate with an A and nitrite with an I, sodium nitrate. Sodium again is salt. You want to stay away from these preservatives because not only are they free radicals, but if you're having an issue with your high blood pressure, it contains sodium and it will elevate your blood pressure. And so I list foods, processed foods. They are putting this sodium nitrite and sodium nitrate into processed foods such as smoked turkey, smoked ham, processed meats such as hot dogs, pepperoni, ham, bacon, sausages, ground pork, spam, bologna, jerky, whether it's turkey jerky or beef jerky or whatever jerky, salami, etc. Read your ingredients list. This will be under your nutrition facts label, and make sure it does not contain sodium nitrate or sodium nitrite. And the reason why they're using these preservatives is to prolong the shelf life of the food. It has no nutritional value. Actually, they are related to a lot of diseases. They're linked to heart disease and strokes, increase in blood pressure, even cancers. Most importantly, cancers, including leukemia. They noticed that when they first start making, women were going to work and they start making these processed foods, hot dogs. They would say, oh, to tell the children, oh, get a hot dog. I won't be home until late. You can put a hot dog. It was easy for the kids to prepare. But then they noticed there was an increase of leukemia in children during this time. So stay
Really?
away from the preservatives, sodium nitrite and nitrate. Okay, so now we're at total sugars. So you'll see total sugars, and then you'll see included, added, or added sugars. Total sugars is the sugar that's naturally found in fruits and vegetables. That's all we want. We don't want to purchase any foods that has included, added, or added sugars, because these included added sugars are usually your genetically modified sugars, such as high fructose corn syrup, corn syrup, and any of your artificial sweeteners, saccharin, aspartame, sucralose, sulfame K, and invert. Now, not too many people have heard about invert, but invert is found in a lot of those little breakfast biscuits or cookies that taste extremely good. This is an artificial sweetener, and artificial sweeteners contain no nutrition for the body, and they can be detrimental to your health. So when you're looking at total sugars, you just want to see, like if it's a fruit, you're going to have sugar that's naturally from the fruit, such as glucose or fructose. If it's a vegetable will have natural sugar like sucrose. And in addition to sucrose, it's a little fructose or glucose. Now we know these are natural. These are coming with the fruit to give us energy, to give our cells energy. And you might want to curtail to the amount of that if you're pre-diabetic. If you're 35 years or older, pre-diabetic or diabetic, you're going to be watching even the total sugar. But definitely a no-no is included sugar or added sugar, because that's where you're going to get the definitely bad sugars that's going to cause diabetes, and heart disease, and cancers.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you're going to be looking at your ingredient list to make sure you don't have high fructose corn syrup, refined, granulated canned sugars, artificial sweeteners, because they have no nutritional value and they're high in calories, meaning they causes obesity, and obesity is directly linked to diabetes. And as a matter of fact, they call it diabetes. And children and adults should avoid consuming them to prevent obesity, adult onset or type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, cancers, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and a plethora of other diseases. Now remember, sugar causes inflammation, and inflammation is a rabbit trail to all diseases. You can trace almost every disease back to
inflammation. Yeah, that's what I'm always hearing about, is that inflammation. Yeah, like you said, a rabbit trail leads right back.
Yeah. So here's what you're looking at on your food container: nutrition facts. And it will tell you, actually give you the servings per cup. So this is food called quinoa. Quinoa is a seeded grain. And it's, as you see, the serving size is about 1/4 cup amount per serving, and the calories is 160 calories. The total fat is 2.5 grams. See, this is a grain. This is a seeded grain. This is a healthy grain. So you have no saturated fat, and that's what we're looking for. 0 trans fat. Cholesterol, 0 milligrams, because this is a plant-based whole grain or seeded grain carbohydrate. Sodium, 0. Total carbohydrates, 30 grams. Now, the total carbohydrates of 30 grams is used for energy, okay? We need carbohydrates and fats for energy. But the important thing to notice when you're getting carbohydrates is the dietary fiber, because again, this is the healthy food for our gut bacteria, our gut microbiome. And the total sugar, see, they say 3 grams of total sugar, but the most important thing that makes this so great is no included, 0 included added sugar. And this is what you want to look for. If it has 1 gram of added sugar, I'll leave it. Yeah. 1 gram and above.
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so make healthy happen in 2025. Drink an adequate amount of water. Drink half your body's weight in ounces of natural spring water, sold in BPA-free bottles. And that BPA stands for bisphenol A. Now, the bisphenol can cause an increase in your bad cholesterols. It can cause diabetes, pre-diabetes. So you want to buy BPA-free bottles, BPA-free plastic storage containers, because this can leak when it gets warm. That BPA can leak into that plastic, and we're talking about plastic bottles. We're talking about plastic food storage containers, and we're even talking about those plastic baking bags. Make sure they're BPA free. Even your cans now, look for BPA free canned goods, because they have linked this BPA to a lot of diseases, including diabetes and heart disease and cancer.
And do the labels say that on the that they're BPA free?
Yeah,
Okay.
look for that on your labels now, because according to scientific research, they have associated this BPA with a lot of diseases, including hormone dysfunction in the fetus of both females and males. It interferes with the ovaries and the testicles.
Okay.
So BPA is a bad player.
Okay. No, that's good to know. That's good to know.
So exercise regularly, walking, jogging, bicycling, swimming. If you have a stationary bicycle, exercise. Get appropriate rest, because this way you can keep your emotions balanced. And we want to have emotion balance so we don't get into anxiety or stress. And unforgiveness. Don't bottle up unforgiveness. If you do something to somebody, forgive. This is part of you staying in rest and staying connected with the Maker, with our Father. Bless your food also, because we're getting this information, but man is infallible, so they make mistakes. So also bless your food before you eat your food. Try to remember to bless your food. Practice good hygiene, personal hand washing, or have your sanitizer with you in your car. So, once you get in your car, use your hand sanitizers. Bathing and body. Bathing of your body, taking care of your body, wearing clean undergarments and clothes. And then as far as your resident, where you're living, keep your kitchen and bathrooms clean, as well as your bed linen, because most of the bacteria that invades our body come from the outside. That's bacteria and viruses and even parasites. So when we are practicing good hygiene, it's very, very important.
Yeah. Dr. Joyce, this has been so good. So good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. I love it. And like you said, we want to make healthy happen in 2025 and always. Thank you so much. Everybody, I hope that you have gleaned some good stuff. I'm glad that we had the question come through from Gladstone, Missouri, to get us set up for this year. All the things that we have learned, those things that we need to watch on the nutrition facts label: total salt, sugar, and fats. The total fats, those are the three that we need to be looking for. And and reading the ingredient labels, but all our nutrition facts label, but also the ingredients list, because there are things there that we need to be paying attention to. And so this has been great, Dr. Joyce. I thank you for jumping on. And each week, the third Friday of the month, Dr. Joyce will be on with something good. So send in your questions. Keep sharing with us and let us know how we can best serve you. What things do you want to know around nutrition and wellness? Send the questions in. We'd love to get Dr. Joyce to answer them for us. And we love hearing from you. Dr. Joyce, it's always a pleasure. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, send a like, send a comment, share with us so that we can make sure that we are bringing back to you information that you want to know. Tune in every Friday. We have something good for you to share, and we look forward to seeing you next week. This has been MG and Dr. Joyce with the Reimagine You Lab podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a blessed day.
Blessed to everyone. Thank the viewers. Thank you.